Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me, and I am back. This is part 2 of What If Deku had a matter manipulation quirk. As always, make sure to show some love to the video. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. As always, we are trying out this new kind of video style where we have 2 parts, but they're a little bit longer, or like we have one long part and one slightly shorter part or something along those lines. And I have full intentions of getting you 2 videos tomorrow, being that this would be the movie. Like, we'll have the movie of this, and then also the next video out for part 1. Haven't decided what video I'm going to be doing next. I mean, I have plenty to pick through, but I just have to, decide which one I want to do. Now, check the links in the description before we get into it. Make sure to check, the Spotify's and stuff like that. Yeah, we got a Spotify, we got a Discord, all that good stuff. Now, with all that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let's get right into it. Let's get it. Izuku Midoriya is finally on his path to becoming an actual hero, and that's would have to include getting into the Provisional Hero License exam. The Provisional Hero License exam, well, it's an important part of becoming a hero, especially with what Izuku Midoriya is going to be able to do in this said exam. Now, the first portion of the exam is pretty actually basic. The first portion of the exam involves him actually, for the most part, tagging people with a ball, kind of like dodgeball in a way. But you have to tag the lights of different people, and when you do so, you actually get eliminations, and as long as he gets a certain amount of eliminations, he goes on to the next round. Now, with his quirk, he could straight up make a ton of these balls and just start shooting them everywhere. And as he does this, he eliminates multiple people at once, and he easily gets on to that next round. But the next round is when Izuku Midoriya will truly thrive, because he starts working with people like Momoya Yorozu and other people around to set up base camp to start with. Now, base camp is very easily created by Izuku, because he literally makes like an actual base camp. Just out of nowhere, out of just thin air, he seemingly is able to create a very certified shelter and a certified area with a ton of stuff that they would possibly need. I mean, they have med kits, they have a bunch of things that could possibly help them, water, they have food, they have different things that could be needed. Now, this does wear him down a little bit just doing this, but he knows that just doing this specifically is going to help him get a way better score, and is really what you would want to do in a scenario like this. Now, in terms of the water and food, well, the water is easy, but the food itself, obviously, it does affect him, and it's not really the best idea for him to make food necessarily, but he makes more or less like stuff that is just hyper needed if in a bad scenario. It's nothing insane, nothing crazy, but the more specific thing is just having anything to do with like different types of med kits and different types of things you could possibly need, right? In an emergency situation. And it's kind of perfect for Izuku to actually do just that, and it's kind of perfect for him to get set up in this way. And as he's set up and as everything is prepared properly, Izuku wonders, like, what's to come next, right? Because he did all that. He helped out massively with all in all those regards. But on top of that, of course, he has helped with so many other things, like saving different people. But the main specific thing that he's thinking about is kind of like, what's next? Seriously, like, it can't just be this. And he would be right, because eventually these fake villains and also a fake main villain would show up. The fake main villain is Gang Orca. Yeah, Gang Orca is a serious foe, and Izuku watches as Gang Orca kind of puts the beating on one of the students that are there. He gets overconfident and he thinks, oh yeah, I'm gonna be able to defeat him super easily, and well, he was so freaking wrong. Yeah, he did take advantage of getting the upper hand on some of these more minor villains, or kind of the weaker people that are just around. But in terms of Gang Orca is no freaking joke, and he easily handles his way through, defeating basically everyone there or defeating just the kid that initially stepped up to the plate. And Gang Orca shows that it's not going to be so easy for them to really do what they want to do. And that right there is a pretty scary thing, especially because now he knows that it's going to be massively difficult to actually get something done and actually do something properly. And Izuku is just thinking, okay, well, like, I might need to help these people out because it seems like they're actually struggling. And luckily enough, Inasa and Todoroki start actually trying to work together, but unfortunately they're unable to actually work together properly. But they are working together, at least to an extent. And when they're working together, it seems like, well, that they're actually going to be able to do some massive damage, like massive amounts of damage if properly utilized. So Izuku creates kind of something that would allow them to both in unison kind of utilize their powers and make some sort of vortex. And Izuku is able to actually trap Gang Orca within that vortex and trap him entirely, so where the powers of Inasa and Todoroki combined seamlessly, and it seems like it's actually not even gonna be able to get out. And on top of that, Gang Orca's unable to actually drink water and, you know, get things you know, swinging back in his direction. And he's flat out defeated by these three students. Izuku is pretty damn tired though, with all the stuff that he has done with trying to rescue, with trying to help people out, with setting up different things and all of the above. Like, I mean, who wouldn't be? He's absolutely exhausted, but he still was able to help massively in every single regard, in like every single point of imagination. He was able to help drastically to get everybody to safety. But with all that said and done, Izuku has quite a bit of choices coming up for his work study. Yes, he passes the provisional hero license exam with flying colors, passing it very easily. In fact, actually his quirk is borderline perfect for this, but he continues to kind of work with class 1A, but also works with the support course quite a bit, working with them, learning from them, and also just trying to up the ante for what he is possibly able to do, because he thinks that there's so much more that he hasn't been able to do that he truly can do. And that right there is a pretty scary thing. I mean, the fact that Izuku's potential seems to be boundless, and he continues to impress overall, is something that a lot of people are kind of thinking about, especially these other heroes that are potentially candidates to actually have Izuku join their ranks, and, you know, candidates to have Izuku be a hero alongside many others. And Izuku, well, he's excited to join anybody, but the one person he sees that actually extends the hand for him is actually Sir Night-Eye. Sir Night-Eye knows of what happened and what he did, being able to give All Might a chance at being Prime All Might once again. And by the way, yes, he was utilizing or on the last embers of One For All, but Izuku has basically been able to kind of work a way where he's able to last, or help One For All last a lot longer, even though it was given to Mirio Togata. So he's able to help out with making it so that he could still be a hero, still help out here and there. And Sir Night-Eye, well, he has amazing amounts of respect for that specifically, and he believes that right there is something that not many people would be able to do. Not many people, you know, would be able to kind of get a hold of, and not many people would have really the chance or even the powers to do that specifically. And he's impressed. I mean, at the end of the day, he's definitely impressed by Izuku, and he's definitely impressed by everything that he's been able to do. And he adds and has Mirio tell him that he wants to work with Izuku overall. Now, this is after a bit of a conflict with him and with Mirio and Izuku. Not an actual conflict, of course, but like a training conflict where they have to kind of fight and spar together. And Izuku utilizes a good extent of his powers, but it seems that Mirio himself, in terms of raw power, is able to handle Izuku to a certain extent. Now, I'm not saying that Mirio is flat out stronger than Izuku. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. but Izuku does have a unique set of skills that benefit him and others in different ways compared to Mirio. Mirio's more of that one-on-one brawler, if not he can take down multiple people, but Izuku, he's that really good support / frontline hero. He has control over almost everything you could possibly think of. Yes, if he was a villain, and I think a lot of people have thought about this, if he was a villain, he'd be able to take over and or kind of change the actual foundation of every single person that really has ever existed. I mean, he'd be able to change their DNA, change their this, change their that, but of course he's not going to do that necessarily, but he has helped All Might in terms of getting better and feeling better as the number one hero continues to be the number one hero, at least for now. And of course, this would lead them to working with each other, Izuku and also Sir Nidai. And the whole goal is to actually get a hold of Overhaul. Now, of course, they have no expectations of them actually finding Overhaul, just not right off the rip. They're going to have to, eventually come across him, eventually, have an invasion of the Shia Hazzaikai base, as long as they can get information. And Izuku is able to gather this information pretty damn quickly. Like, he's able to gather the information for, what's happening, where's the Shia Hazzaikai base, and all the above, quicker than many have even imagined and thought was really possible in the first place. And, of course, this would be massively beneficial for Sir Nidai and the entire crew. And Izuku thinks that, this is really good, and this is the potential of them, getting a hold of the base, and the potential of them kind of finding and or kind of stopping the people of the Shia Hazzaikai gang, or kind of the organization, is a big point of contention. So if they can stop them, or stop the head of it especially, that's going to make way for them massively. But what they didn't know is that Izuku and also Mirio would run into Overhaul just one day on a patrol. It might sound insane, it might sound absolutely just crazy, but running into a villain like this, I mean, it's outlandish, it's unordinary, and that's what happens. They find a villain just like this. They find the villain being that of, Overhaul, and they find Overhaul, and everybody's in shock at the fact that they were able to even come across him. And what does Izuku and Mirio do? Well, initially, Mirio's thinking that they should let him go. Yes, there's a little girl at stake here and this and that, but they don't want to add unnecessary things to happen, and they believe that if they go haywire here, I mean, Eri could truly get hurt, the little girl could truly be in danger. But Izuku thinks that he has the capabilities, he has the availability, and he also has the powers to just stop Overhaul right now. And that's what he does. He creates a box around Overhaul, and Overhaul thinks, are you serious? This is what you were doing? This was your smart idea. And as he goes to actually touch the box of some sorts, and as he does, he realizes something, that he no longer can utilize his quirk. It's as if he was captured entirely. And they have hero after hero arrive at the scene, and they're basically telling him so he can't use his quirk in there, in which Izuku explains the whole thing, and they ask, can we bring, this whole box to a certain area and, get quirk canceling cuffs on him? And he says, yeah, they could probably do that pretty simply. And they set up kind of a meeting, and they kind of set up an area to bring Overhaul at. They open up part of the box so that, he doesn't just get out for free and just, hurt somebody. And Izuku is actually helpful in this, where he keeps him kind of occupied and or keeps him away from utilizing his quirk, or the ability to even use his quirk in the first place. And they're able to get quirk canceling cuffs on him and stop Overhaul before anything would even occur, which is kind of insane when you put it into perspective, because Izuku was able to actually shut this all down, and they were able to shut everything down quicker than you could imagine. Now, of course, they're still going to have to face the Shia Hazzaikai, or, Overhaul's kind of gang, you could call it, and they're going to have to fight them in the base of the Shia Hazzaikai, excuse me. And And this is when they're all going to be able to really prepare everything better, in fact. And that's where Izuku really thrives, right? Preparing and preparation. Izuku's really good at all of those things. And he's able to basically prepare a foolproof plan and also open up the entire building so that they can get in there, defeat all the villains, defeat the Shihazaikai, capture all of them, and Izuku's really good at that as well. And then bam, the Shihazaikai would be off the streets and unable to terrorize the streets with Quirk canceling bullets and also having their insane criminal effect on the streets of Japan. And that's a big thing for this world and a big thing for Hero Society. Now, Izuku would finish up with working with Sir Night-Eye and finish up with the Shihazaikai. Very, very quickly, in fact. Izuku would be a big help, and then eventually he would go on to being, his normal kind of, his normal classes and normal stuff like that, in which would lead him to actually having a bit of a, you could call it a sparring session, but it's more like a actual class exercise where it's going to be Class 1A versus Class 1B, aka joint training. Now, this joint training is pretty damn cool when you put it into perspective, and Izuku has a team of 4 versus a team of 5. And the reason for this is because Hitoshi Shinso will actually be joining them for this more specifically, or for this kind of this thing more specifically, to show off what he's capable of doing, what he can do and what he can get into and what he can do to basically prove that he is prepared to either be a Class 1A student or a Class 1B student. But Izuku, I mean, he hasn't forgotten exactly what happened. He hasn't forgotten how he lost all that time ago in the UA Sports Festival. Well, sort of lost. And he hasn't forgotten any of it. He hasn't forgotten anything from this guy, Shinso. He fell for it once, but he won't fall for it again. And he tells them all that they're going to lose here. And they're going to lose in spectacular fashion. Because all of them, well, they set up, it's Izuku, it's Mineta, it's Mina, and it's also Uravity, aka Ochako Uraraka. And, well, this is where we see them go head to head with Reiko, with Shota, with Monoma, with Yui Kodai, and also Hitoshi Shinso. Now, they do have an interesting group of or a team. They have an interesting team, but in terms of keeping away from the Phantom Thief or Monoma, Izuku makes sure to stay away from him so he doesn't have to worry about his quirk getting taken at all. But Izuku knows that taking his quirk isn't gonna be as easy as Monoma may think, because, well, Izuku and his powers are so different and are completely different. And before you know it, they set up a trap for the other team where they would show up and they would attack Mineta, Mina, and also Uraraka, and they would immediately be able to get out of the way, as Izuku would put a giant prison around all of them and almost immediately defeat them. And let's just say Bakugo is currently watching this, thinking like, oh wow, that was the most boring way for you to win. In which Izuku shrugs his shoulders and says, whatever works and whatever, gets the job done, that's what they're going to do. They're not going to, beat around the bush. They're not going to allow other things to happen and or allow people to get away with certain things that they really shouldn't. And he's going to make sure that they're able to shut down this fight, shut down this training session quicker than you could imagine. And he tells Shinso that the first time he may have gotten him, but this time he was not going to get him all over again. And he made sure that he defeated Shinso, made sure that he showed everybody what he was capable of. And even after that win, he still would go to his other classes, and on top of that would go to his support course, where they would still be working on things for the near future. He continues to do this, even throughout day after day after day. He continues to do this until eventually, one day when he's in his support course, he actually gets a knock on the door. But the knock on the door is from somebody he wasn't expecting. He actually didn't know who this was necessarily. He's heard about him, but he doesn't know much about him. His name is Gran Torino. And Gran Torino would tell Izuku that they actually need his help. And he wonders, I mean, what do you need my help for? Like, what's going on? Is everything all right? And he says, well, not exactly, but there's nothing wrong to an extent. In which he tells him and explains to him that they found something in the mountains, something that he believes he would have a good kind of touch on. In which Izuku wonders, what is he talking about? As they approach the mountains, Izuku would look around. I mean, what is happening? Like, what am I supposed to be looking for? In which he tells him that. In which Izuku looks and says, what, the mountain? And he goes, no, that's not a mountain. That's a creature. That's a monster. That's something they haven't seen ever. Izuku looks closer and realizes that he's right. This, they don't know his name, but this is Gigantomachia. And Izuku wonders, what does he want him to do? And he tells Izuku that he knows that he can see things at a completely different level, a completely different scale. And it seems like he sees things that others would not. And he might be able to change the mindset and also make sure to check what this thing is trying to do. In which Izuku starts doing this, digging into the mind of Gigantomachia, but also digging into the atoms, everything that is connecting, the compounds, Gigantomachia that surrounds his body. He checks everything. And as he does, he realizes that Gigantomachia is someone that is of one purpose. And that purpose is to help All for One. Now Izuku starts poking and prodding here and there, and he tells them that shutting down and changing the mind of Gigantomachia isn't something that he can necessarily do. I mean, sort of. He can do that, but it might have repercussions that they're not prepared for. And he tells them that Gigantomachia lays dormant right now. They should probably make some sort of restriction, some sort of prison that could hold something that may be more powerful than anything they've ever dealt with. Because he can tell that this thing might be strong and or almost as strong, if not stronger, than something like peak All Might. It's that crazy. And he tells them that in raw power, at least. Now, in terms of smarts, in terms of durability, in terms of figuring things out, or in terms of kind of thinking about things mentally, he probably wouldn't be the most intelligent thing. But he says that he can poke, he can prod, he can try to lessen the reactions of Gigantomachia and keep him sleeping for a while. But they should create some sort of barrier around this area that makes it so that Gigantomachia no longer can move and can no longer actually, get out. In which that's what they work on. Izuku works on these things, works on like these really, really insanely powerful chains that can keep Gigantomachia here, or at least to an extent keep him here. And that's what they do. And that's what works for a while. But eventually Gigantomachia would wake up and he would start sprawling, trying to get out. And Izuku would come to help, and he would immediately try to calm the beast down, telling him to relax, that everything is fine now. And he asks for All for One, wonders where his master is, wonders where where he is. But Izuku tries to get him away from that idea, telling him that All for One is now gone, that he can now live peacefully on his own and have a peaceful life in general. And he continues to try to do this, helping Gigantomachia, blah, 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 and tries over and over. And as he finally would get a hold of the mind of Gigantomachia, the Gigantomachia would finally calm down and eventually would become somewhat stable. Now, keeping an eye on Gigantomachia is something that Izuku does for years to come, because he's a monster, a creature, and something that could always potentially go haywire. But throughout these years, from his second to even third year, they continue to make massive leaps in technology, massive leaps in things that they never thought they would be able to make massive leaps in. I mean, better prisons, better things to shut down villainy, to cancel quirks, to stop this, stop that. Everything gets more durable, everything gets better. Prisons get stronger, heroes have better support items, and it's all because of the help of Izuku Midoriya and Mei Hatsume. And on top of that, Izuku starts getting funding, even at when he becomes a third year, not even a full-fledged hero just yet. He starts getting funding from Melissa Shields and also David Shields and the United States. He starts getting funding from them, help from them, and also just flat out he gets massive help from them, and also is able to elevate the technology from the United States to even Japan itself. He's elevating everything. Izuku is, Mei Hatsume is, Melissa Shields is, and even Momo Yaoyorozu starts helping out to a massive degree. Now, even Momo starts learning throughout these years that Izuku is someone who she can learn from quite a bit because of his kind of control and understanding of molecules, atoms, and so much more. And well, it's honestly a good thing that she does this because it honestly makes her an even better hero than anyone thought she would be in the first place. And Izuku starts elevating every single person that surrounds him, from the support heroes to even actual regular heroes that you would see on a day-to-day basis. Izuku continues to show every single person that not only is he a powerful hero that will go out there on the front lines to save those who are in need, but also someone who can support, who can help, and who can make sure everyone is safe and healthy, and that's something he continues to do. And as he graduates UA High School, he graduates at the top of his class, part of the Big Three, and Izuku is a big component of so much more than anyone could possibly imagine. He borderline stops stops sickness, stops cancer, stops all of these things, and Izuku is able to help with every aspect of hero work, from helping people to stopping people that are powerful, to helping out with controlling and helping prison systems, and or kind of helping out anything you could possibly even imagine. Izuku Midoriya really upholds a standard that nobody thought would be able to be upheld than compared to someone like All Might. All Might was a hero's hero. Your favorite hero, well, All Might was your favorite hero's hero. And Izuku will soon be able to uphold that specifically. Yes, is he not your Mirio Togata who smiles with every single interaction and stops every villain with kind of a smile and a fist in the sky? Of course he's not. He's not, because he does things differently. He handles things differently, but he is truly the hidden number one hero. Even if Izuku never will get the title of number one, and he won't ever get the title of number one, he's still, everybody, him, himself, and everyone else will know that Izuku Midoriya is the number one hero truly in actual action, in actual, purpose. Because Izuku might be able to kind of not interact, aka work with things the way Mirio Togata is able to do, but Izuku damn well can do every single thing to a high degree, but still help those in need in every single aspect of the imagination. And Izuku Midoriya shows off everything that he's capable of day in and day out, and continues over and over again to show that he can do so much more than anyone even could possibly imagine. Now, with all that said, if you enjoyed the video of Izuku Midoriya having the powers of matter manipulation, make sure to show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want to see next. I always take suggestions, you know what I mean? I would love to hear any suggestions y'all have. I mean, anything you guys have for me in terms of future what ifs. There's no guarantee I'll get to them. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? I won't be able to get to every single idea, but I will try my best to get to some ideas that I personally see and I'm like, ooh, I like that idea. Let me do it. Blah, blah, blah. Now, I do have full intentions of doing other what ifs. Right now, I'm kind of sticking to Deku what ifs just because it's something I know really well. I do have plans to do some Isagi what ifs. I would love to do some more solo leveling what ifs. Excuse me, I lost my train of thought there. I was almost gonna say Shield Hero what ifs, which, by the way, is something I plan on doing. Just haven't really gotten a grasp on how I want to do it. Because personally, there's a lot to Shield Hero that I don't actually like. So I would definitely have to pick and choose. Like, I might do, Season 1, Season 2, but mess with Season 2 and Season 3, like a little bit more than I would like to. So we'll see what happens. I might go back to Shield Hero. I haven't quite decided yet. But I know some of you are like, hey, can you do some other stuff? Because it's been all Deku. I hear you. I promise I see it. I promise I see your comments. The plan is to do some other stuff as well. Maybe even go and do some Demon Slayer as well. But with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I got nothing else to say. And yeah, that's all I got to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.